Welcome to another movie plot and enjoy the memories. It begins with a presidential candidate making predictions about doomsday in the city of Los Angeles. Increased crime rates has him calling it the city of sin and claiming that God will separate it from the rest of America. He's somehow correct, and soon an earthquake hits the San Fernando Valley so large that it breaks LA away from mainland, turning it into an island. This wins him a lifetime term in office, so they move the White House to his hometown in Virginia and crack down on crime in what he calls the new moral America. Anyone not conforming to new laws have their citizenship revoked and get deported to the island, which has become a free-for-all penal colony for the gangs inside. It's surrounded by a heavily defended containment wall guarded by a new security force called the United States Police, whose only job is to make sure nobody escapes. Anyone in violation of the president's list of moral crimes like smoking, drinking alcohol, eating red meat or swearing are deported permanently to LA. All religions outside of Christianity are banned, while Snake Plissken's arrested in New Vegas, Thailand for a series of trumped-up charges like just owning a gun. The duty sergeant welcomes Plissken before escorting him through the deportation/execution area and leaving him in a vacant room at the end. Moments later, the police commander Malloy arrives to offer Snake a deal and shows him video footage from Air Force 3. The president's daughter Utopia has stolen her father's remote control to satellites capable of firing an electromagnetic pulse anywhere on the world. She was seduced by the revolutionary leader Cuervo Jones after he hacked into her video game and convinced her to bring him the remote inside Los Angeles. The president couldn't care less if his daughter's alive, as he considers her a traitor anyway, but wants Snake to enter the island and retrieve the remote control. He offers Snake a full pardon for all his crimes, but he refuses, so Brazen reveals that she secretly infected him with a virus which will kill him in 10 hours. Lashing out, we see that the officials are only holograms as they're standing in the room next door projecting illusions of themselves. Snake complies in order to receive an antidote when the mission's completed and is given various gadgets that'll aid him in the movie. He changes into a new jacket that'll disguise his thermal signature and is told just to kill Utopia when he finds her for the betterment of the whole country. Hearing that the commander's not the one delivering the antidote, Snake attempts to shoot him, but Malloy predicted this and filled the first clip with blanks. They plan to sneak Snake into the city with a nuclear-powered mini-submarine, and he's given a device to count down the minutes before he dies. Traveling through the submerged ruins of Los Angeles, the sturdy vehicle crashes straight through skyrises on its way to the island. It launches out of the water and lands on a platform on the edge of a cliff, but it crumbles away, causing the sub to sink into the ocean. A team of surfing police hang around on the waves off the coast while the local pipeline avoids them. He simply says that he's a fan of the famous Snake Plissken and welcomes him to the city of sin, which isn't much to look at after the quake. It's a hotbed of crime, and Snake follows his tracking device to the last team that the president sent in, only to find it on a corpse having knives tossed at it. The skinhead offers $100 if he can land 3, but Snake ignores him and gets directions from the waitress to his target instead. When the disrespected man tries to throw a knife into his back, Snake just shoots him dead and continues on to the Revolutionaries Parade on Sunset Boulevard. He then hijacks a bike from the leader's convoy and catches up to him, but has his rifle knocked from his hand before he can shoot him. From atop his Buick convertible, Cuervo and Utopia watch on, impressed by Snake's performance to reach them by fighting across the top of the other vehicles. He eventually feels disrespected and uses his bolo to knock Snake to the ground, where he loses his jacket and gets surrounded. All 4 of the revolutionaries step back and agree to have a quick draw when a tin hits the floor, but Snake just pulls on them before it lands. Making his way across the city, the virus begins to cause headaches when Snake meets one of the island's colorful characters mapped to the stars, Eddie. He's a swindler who makes a living selling voice tours of LA and gives the assassin directions to Cuervo's camp. Snake reaches Beverly Hills Hotel, where a young woman named Taslima tells him to remain quiet to avoid the gangs, but she's the only one making any noise. It attracts cloaked figures who capture both of the tourists and take them back to their group of deformed people living inside the local hospital. They're what still remains of Silicon Valley and have gone mad with constant implants and facelifts, which is the only thing still keeping them living. Their leader, the Surgeon General, has humans brought to him for body parts like Taslima's real breasts and Snake's blue eyeball, despite only having the one. About to remove it, Snake uses a dart hidden in his mouth that he received from the police to subdue the surgeon and force the deformed people to release him and the girl. The two escape into the sewers, where Taslima leads Snake towards Cuervo's camp, and they emerge in the Dragon Gang district of Los Angeles. Before parting ways, the girl reveals romantic feelings for Snake, but he just gives her a gun as consolation and continues his mission before the time runs out. She still follows, so he lets her tag along when she explains that she was sent here for being a Muslim in America. Like most of the people living in LA, she doesn't want to leave and considers it the last bastion of freedom in the country, but is suddenly shot and dies in Snake's arms. The group of children that shot her then chase Snake away, who luckily has another run-in with Eddie and is given a lift to his destination. He says that Snake should have accepted his star map, as it warns you to avoid Beverly Hills before pulling up outside of Cuervo's headquarters. It turns out that Eddie's an agent for the revolution and captures Snake alive before he wakes up on a treadmill and gets made to run for hours. Despite Snake being reported dead and still pulling through, previously El Presidente assumes that he's failed the mission and intends to nuke the city of LA. Malloy stops him, saying that with the satellites under his control, Cuervo could render America unable to function with the press of a button if they sense danger. The president presumes they don't even know how to operate the remote, but a genius named Test Tube has discovered the code that can knock out power for the entire planet. Cuervo has the Latin American nations standing by for his signal to attack the United States and gets on a video call to threaten the world leader. He sends a warning that if anyone tries to stop him, he'll pull the plug on the country, and gives a demonstration of his power by blacking out the Capitol in Virginia. They then bring Snake to the LA arena, which has been converted into a coliseum with all kinds of gladiatorial events including basketball. They have some convoluted rules about landing 5 shots within 10 seconds of each other on alternating hoops, or else you're shot dead by a ridiculous amount of bullets. Apparently nobody's ever beaten it, but when it's Snake's turn he obviously wins with a full court shot silencing the crowd. They all begin to cheer as everybody loves a winner, but Cuervo still intends to shoot him as this is the person who just tried to assassinate him. Utopia flip-flops again, distracting her man to save Snake's life, who manages to escape during a sudden aftershock that disperses the guards. The revolutionary attempts to return to his headquarters, but Snake blows up a car as a distraction and leaps out, knocking the leader down. He swipes the remote control and flees into the sewers, but Utopia chases after him and begs Snake to be returned home to her family. He doesn't kill her like ordered, but doesn't help her escape either when Eddie hits him in the leg with a bullet and Snake takes a tumble into the water. The agent returns to his boss with the remote and president's daughter, but no one believes he killed Snake Plissken until Eddie can retrieve his body. Meanwhile, Snake spat out on the edge of the city where pipelines waiting to catch a wave that washes over the area. He helps Snake treat his injured leg, then pulls a spare board out of his buggy and shows him how to surf tsunami waves that fill up the channel. It allows them to traverse into the city with some of the best special effects in the movie, where coincidentally Eddie's driving by close enough to the wave that Snake's able to leap onto his Cadillac and beat him into submission. He forces the double agent to bring him to a rival gang leader who hides out on board the decaying Queen Mary cruise ship. The boss, Hershe, turns out to be a former accomplice of Snake, but he remembers her as a dude named William who now keeps a pistol between her legs. Hershe laughs when hearing about the situation and says that the virus he's infected with is just propaganda, but Snake doesn't believe her. She agrees to help get the remote and escape the island, as Hershe's one of the few people with ambitions who actually wants to leave this hellhole. After getting prepared, they all leap off the deck using hand gliders to soar across the city to the amusement park Happy Kingdom by the sea. Cuervo waits with his entire army when the president has a helicopter delivered as the first part of the terrorist demands, but Snake arrives to prevent his escape. Eddie gets sent down first as a distraction and seizes the opportunity to steal the remote control when everyone's distracted shooting at ghosts. He's caught in the act, but before Cuervo can kill the traitor, Snake and Hershe arrive to deliver death from above in the climactic gunfight. Most of Cuervo's men are gunned down while Snake fights the leader in a fistfight, where we learn that the revolutionary's a biter. He slashes Snake across the chest with a blade, but before they can finish their fight, a nearby explosion separates the two. Claiming the remote control for himself, Snake defeats Cuervo before retreating with the survivors to the armored chopper for protection. He then reclaims his jacket from the random dead dude that found it earlier in the film and agrees to take Utopia with him back to her father. Cuervo and his soldiers are unable to do any damage to the helicopter while one man ties it to a wreckage, but Hershe just shoots them free. Eddie notices Cuervo pick up a rocket launcher and mortally shoots him in the chest, but he still fires a shot, so Eddie must leap back onto the island to avoid it. Hershe and her men are blown to smithereens while only Snake and Utopia survive and manage to pilot the damaged chopper all the way to mainland. They come in hot over police HQ and leap out just before crashing when Commander Malloy, Brazen, and the president appears with a platoon of soldiers. Snake offers the remote just before his time runs out, only to learn that the virus was nothing more than the flu and not in the least bit lethal. Mallory's versed on Snake's deception and finds what he assumes is the real remote control hidden on Utopia, indicated by a small red dot. Despite her pleas for forgiveness, she's taken to the electric chair for execution while the president prepares to hit the South American nations with an EMP before they invade. Thinking he has control of the satellites, the president activates his remote but just hears Eddie's map to the stars recording as he applied a fake red dot earlier. He orders Snake to be executed, but he's just an illusion as the real Snake stands somewhere in a field nearby projecting himself with one of their gadgets. To bring the elites down to everyone else's level, he activates every satellite above Earth simultaneously, and an electromagnetic pulse sends them back to the Dark Ages. It saves Utopia from the chair, who probably gets shot right after, while Snake wanders off into the woods saying welcome to the human race. And the movie ends.